I went to jail so many times that my brother told my mother I was doing it on purpose. An OG gangster told me in the streets one day, "You're too sensitive for crime. You gotta be born with this." I often think that if my heart had been just a little bit colder, I would have stayed back there, and I would have died there in the streets. Maybe you can tell from the
For more of these fascinating stories and true crimes, subscribe to Charles Arnes World. Thanks for watching.
On March 2nd, 1991, construction worker Rodney King was watching basketball at a friend's house. He was recently paroled from prison after serving time for a conviction on charges he robbed a convenience store of $200. Though abstaining from alcohol had been a condition of his release, that night King was drinking 8-Ball and had also smoked pot. After the game, he departed in his Hyundai Excel with both his friend and another acquaintance riding along. King drove west on the 210 freeway. He later estimated his speed to be about 80 miles per hour, though Highway Patrol Officer Melanie Singer clocked him at a top speed of more than 110 miles per hour and attempted to pull him over. Exiting the freeway on Paxton Street in the San Fernando Valley, King refused to stop. Singer and her fellow CHP officer, Tim Singer, gave chase, and before long they received backup from LAPD cars and a helicopter. "I knew I'm drinking. I knew I'm feeling buzzed, so I cannot afford to get pulled over, and I'm on parole, and I'm black," King later said. "I made a bad decision by running from him." King finally stopped and exited his vehicle in Lakeview Terrace, and a group of 4 LAPD officers took over the arrest. They incorrectly believed him to be high on PCP due to his sweating, his resistance to taser darts fired at him, and the strength he displayed while resisting capture. King charged at Officer Lawrence Powell, who struck him with a baton. Apparently,
For more of these fascinating stories and true crimes, subscribe to Charles Arnes World. Thanks for watching.
so, Dre responded. "Never mind then." Gold nowadays can't recall the occasion when Dre initially used the term, but it first appeared in print on March 25, 1989, when Los Angeles Times pop music critic Robert Hilburn described an NWA concert in Anaheim. Ice-T, who helped popularize the LA gangster rap image, was the
For more of these fascinating stories and true crimes, subscribe to Charles Arnes World. Thanks for watching.
Substance abuse was unchecked. "I was a young man completely out of control," he said. One night in mid-November 1989, he was filming a pair of videos in East Los Angeles, Beautiful But Deadly and The Formula. In the latter, Easy and Dre hold rapper tryouts with wannabes with names like MC Mallet and New Kids in the Hood. But Dre isn't satisfied until, in a haze, he imagines crafting his perfect rapper in the lab, DOC. Filming 2 videos at the same time was a long, arduous process. DOC drank and smoked weed practically all day, running on fumes that night when he finally got into his car to make the long drive to his Agoura Hills home, westbound on the 101. He fell asleep, and his car spun out, throwing him through the back window. His car collided with a tree. Once the medics arrived, they couldn't sedate him because they didn't know what drugs he had in his system, he said. Still intoxicated, he fought back as they tried to insert a breathing tube, scarring his larynx. DOC was taken to Kaiser Hospital and then Cedars-Sinai. His hospital bills came to more than $60,000, Jerry Heller wrote, which Easy paid for out of his own pocket. DOC would make a full recovery, but for one very serious problem.
For more of these fascinating stories and true crimes, subscribe to Charles Arnes World. Thanks for watching.
Travis Sandman Elliott had this to say. "You asked me what it meant to me, Crippin'. It took me a minute, but we could have been blood. Sir 13s, Moondogs, shit, even GDs, gangster disciples. Honestly, it was our love and loyalty, our friendship bonds that had lasted 20 plus years. Our hood was never bigger than us, if you know what I'm trying to say. He continued, cribbing ain't easy, but damn sure fun.
For more of these fascinating stories and true crimes, subscribe to Charles Arnes World. Thanks for watching.
Rhythm D was matched up with a bodyguard brought in by Mike Klein named Big Animal, and was told not to go anywhere besides the house and the studio. Easy had his own hulking bodyguards, including Big Ron, and a pair of 300-pound goateed Samoan brothers named Jacob and John, aka the Twins. He was glad to have them. He was often stressed out and waking up at absurdly early hours. He turned to acupuncture in hopes of relieving tension, having needles stuck into his head that made him look like the Hellraiser figure he had at his house. Ruthless launched a Saturday night radio show on local station 92.3 The Beat, featuring friend of the label DJ Julio G at the controls. He asked Easy if he could play tracks from The Chronic. Easy said yes, since he was getting paid off it, after all. But Suge Knight was not amused, making threats that inspired the station to heighten security. When Easy heard about this, he laughed, Julio G said, and told him to play even more Death Row music. The Death Row and Ruthless camps encountered each other in person following the 1994 Billboard Music Awards at Universal Amphitheater. Death Row artists had assembled to support Snoop, who won the prize for Top Male Music Artist. After the ceremony, they and their entourages spilled out onto Universal City Walk, an outdoor shopping tourist travel. Death Row were like 300 deep, BG Knockout said. Real Compton City G's have been nominated for an award as well, but the Ruthless camp was smaller, mainly just BG, Dresta, Easy, and a few bodyguards. Like something out of the Old West, the groups stared each other down and approached slowly. From the front of the pack, Suge made his way over to Easy, putting his arm around his shoulders in what seemed like an effort to intimidate him. The foot soldiers got to barking at each other as well. But
for more of these fascinating stories and true crimes, subscribe to Charles Arnes World. Thanks for watching.
She said, I get why something in my heart resonates with people. Because it's real. The magic of her musical partnership with Dre didn't always translate to real life. He began seeing JJ Fad's MCJB. I busted them in the bed together, Miss Chalet said. MCJB confirmed this account, adding that the two women have since put this all behind us, and we are cordial with each other.
For more of these fascinating stories and true crimes, subscribe to Charles Arnes World. Thanks for watching.